You're all set.
Great, thank you. Morning, everyone. This is the December 28th meeting of the Licensing Authority. We have Mr. Larry Decker and Mr. John Flores with us. We also have our Director of Asset Management, David Anthony, and our Interim Deputy Director of Asset Management and Licensing, Erin Logan. We also have Officer Christopher Kelsey with us. Today will be a public hearing. If anyone has any comments, please let us know and we'll be happy to address those at the appropriate time. First, I'll take a motion with respect to last minute meeting minutes.
Chair, if I may interrupt, Erin Logan of Licensing, we will do a roll call first, and the minutes were tabled until the January 9th meeting.
Thank you.
Absolutely. David Nunheimer.
Here.
Larry Decker.
Here.
John Flores.
Here. And just a note, I keep getting a signal that my internet connection is unstable, so you might lose me. If that's the case, then I'll just call in.
If you need to turn your video off, that might help, John.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so the first matter then is continued from November 14th to December 12th. It's an amendment to a Class 2 auto dealer license, Cape Quality Collision, Inc., DBA Cape Quality Car Sales, to amend the corporate name from Cape Quality Collision, Inc. to Cape Quality Cars, Inc. Is anyone here from Cape Quality Cars?
Chair, Erin Logan from Licensing. I do not see the applicant here. I was assured he would be, so if we could push it till after the next application, that would be great.
That'd be fine. So the second matter is request to amend an annual all alcohol common victual license. Hyannis Harbor Tours, Inc., DBA The Landing Cafe at 230 Ocean Street, wishes to change the officers and directors to read Richard M. Scudder, Jr., President, Director with 33.666% interest, 16.66 stock interest. Philip S. Scudder, Secretary, Director with 33.666% ownership interest and 16.66% stock interest. Susan Scudder DiMartino, Director with 33.66% ownership interest and 16.66 stock interest. And Frederick F. Scudder with 50% stock interest. Ellen A. Lonergan, Director, Treasurer with 0% ownership. Motor vessel Jonathan Lewis no longer holds a beneficial interest. And I see Mr. Scudder is here to walk us through all these movements.
Actually, I do have representation here. It's Mr. Attorney Bill Kelly, and he will be working the meeting for us. I'm here for other comments.
I'm sorry, Attorney Kelly, go ahead.
No, not at all. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Commissioner, and through you to the rest of the commissioners. My name is Bill Kelly. I am the attorney for Hyannis Harbor Tours, Inc. regarding this application. And this transaction for a transfer of stock and a change of directors is the direct result of a very recent settlement of the litigations, multiple litigations that have been pending for a number of years. That resolution was recently reached, and we filed this application to incorporate that. The substance of this settlement and the substance of this application is that the former 50% shareholder, Frederick Scudder, referred to colloquially as Skip, is being bought out, and his 50% shares interest in the shares of stock of Hyannis Harbor Tours are being redeemed. That is bought back by the corporation, and he will no longer be a director. The result of the Skip's 50% interest being redeemed by the corporation increases the percentage shares of the remaining three shareholders, who will be, as you noted, and it has disclosed in the application, Richard M. Scudder Jr., Philip S. Scudder, Susan Scudder DiMartino. In addition, the directors are basically remaining the same. The officers are remaining the same. I believe Skip Scudder is coming off as a director as well, hence the need for that. The license manager is the same. And there are, I think the crux of this is, there are no new individuals coming into this corporation that owns this restaurant license. Only one individual is leaving. We need your permission for that to happen legally. And his departure increases the proportionate share of the remaining shareholders. Philip Scudder is on here to answer any questions. I can answer any questions you or any member of the commission may have in regards to this transaction.
Just a question then. So when I read that Frederick Scudder, Skip, will retain a 50% interest. Is that to be deleted, right?
No, I think that might have been on the agenda, but in the application, there were two questions. Question 6, as far as what the proposed new structure of ownership would be, and Frederick Scudder is not on there. Okay. But then a further question asked for what's the last approved, and we are required, and we did disclose him there.
All right, so he won't be on there at this time when we have the motion here. All right.
That's correct, yes.
Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Kelly or Mr. Scudder?
Yes, in the last couple of days, we've received a lengthy letter that was from Mr. Kelly to the ABCC, I believe.
Yes.
What was the gist of that, to me, confusing letter?
Well, I apologize for the lack of clarity in the writing of that letter. That was my request to the ABCC, and then they transmitted it to you, to this licensing authority, to further extend the time for us to satisfy a condition that the ABCC had imposed back upon the original approval of this license. And you will recall that at the time you first granted this restaurant license, because of certain legal issues that were directly related to Frederick Scudder, arising out of the pending litigation, you determined, in the ABCC, you both determined that you would let this restaurant come into business with time to satisfy the condition. And that time to satisfy that condition had a set period of time, that because of the pendency of the litigation that would impact the result of the condition, the ABCC has granted extensions of that. So this most recent letter from me was the current condition was set to expire January the 8th, just in a matter of 10 or 11 days or so. And so to get some time for this transaction and this application to be processed and considered on the merits, first by you and next by the ABCC, if this board decides to grant it, I needed additional time for that condition so the license would not be in jeopardy. So that's a long-winded explanation, but I think you're entitled to a complete one about that long-winded letter. And I apologize if it was not clear.
Thank you very much for the clarification. My only other thing is, with regard to this amendment that's before us, where it says Frederick F. Scudder with 50% stock interest, that's to be deleted. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes. It's my understanding that that got copied onto the agenda, but if you look at the guts of the application, there are clearly two distinct sections, two distinct questions. The first one, I believe it's question 6, asks for what the structure of ownership, directors, and officers will look like if this transaction were granted by you and approved by the ABCC. And then 1 or 2 questions down, it's a disclosure of what the last approved structure was, which is the current structure we're looking for your approval to change to complete the resolution of this longstanding litigation.
Mr. Flores had a question before he disappeared.
Yeah, I keep losing the internet connection. The question really was, this strictly has to deal with the restaurant on the corner there. Has nothing to do with the company owning the transportation.
Well, because the same corporation, Hyannis Harbor Tours, Inc., owns both those number of ship licenses that are disclosed in the application, as well as this restaurant license, all are affected, but those ship licenses, as indicated on the license, are Section 13 licenses under Chapter 138 that are directly issued by the ABCC, and that's the background for the explanation of the license being the Commonwealth of Mass /ABCC. But those are affected as well, and we'll be having further conversations with the ABCC, not only about securing approval of this transaction if this board were to approve it today, but also making the appropriate and required adjustments to those ship licenses as well.
Okay, so I'm clear. Today's discussion is focusing on the restaurant versus the snack bars on the boats.
Yes, that's right. Exactly right.
Okay, thank you.
Does anybody else have any questions? Anybody from the public wishes to comment? I don't see anybody. Mr. Decker, with that being said, we'll fire away a motion.
Mr. Chairman.
Congratulations to both of you for resolving this.
Mr. Chairman, with regard to the amendment of the annual all alcohol common victor license with Hyannis Harbor Tours, Inc., DBA, the Landing Cafe, 230 Ocean Street, Hyannis, to change the officers and directors to read Richard M. Scudder, Jr., President, Director with 33.666% ownership interest, 16.66% stock interest. Philip S. Scudder, Secretary, Director with 33.666% ownership interest and 16.66% stock interest. Susan Scudder DiMartino, Director with 33.666% ownership interest and 16.66% stock interest. And Ellen A. Lonergan, Director, Treasurer with 0% ownership, and a motor vessel Jonathan Lewis no longer holds a beneficial interest. I make a motion to accept.
Mr. Flores, we have a second.
I will second that.
Great. Roll call.
David Nunheimer,
Yes.
Larry Decker,
Yes.
and John Flores.
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes.
Congratulations, gentlemen. Again, that's good work.
Thank you
Good luck,
very
guys.
much. Thank you very much for your consideration today and throughout this situation. And I wish to extend to everyone on the call best wishes for a very happy New Year. Thank you.
Same to you
Thank
guys.
you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, take
Thanks,
care.
guys.
All right, I do see someone with respect to Cape Quality Collisions, so we'll bring that back. It's Cape Quality Collision, Inc., DBA Cape Quality Car Sales, to amend the corporate name from Cape Quality Collision to Cape Quality Cars, Inc. And who's here from Cape Quality? You're muted. You have to put the sound on.
Okay.
What's your name?
Damian Murray.
Okay, Damian, so you want to switch, what's the purpose of switching the corporate name?
Just separating everything works better for my books.
So you're trying to separate the collision work from the car sales?
Yeah.
Okay.
And people have been getting them confused, so.
Yeah. All right, so just as a reminder, you know, when there are mandatory meetings held by the licensing division or the town of Barnstable related to the business operation, you're going to be required to attend those. And I suggest that you reach out, if you haven't already, to Ms. Logan with respect to um, the rules and regulations, just so you're clear about that.
Okay.
All right. Does anybody have any questions with respect to this application? Mr. Kelsey, Officer Kelsey, I'm sorry.
No problem. I just want to put out a reminder that we had our November annual meeting for the car dealerships, Class 1 and Class 2 licenses. We did have a fairly low attendance, but I just want to put that out there while Mr. Murray's on the line with us to remind him that starting after the first of the year, as advised during that meeting, we are going to be visiting randomly a number of the dealerships, and we plan to keep that program going on throughout the year. So if there's anything that he needs to get in order with his dealership, as far as staffing, hours of operation, vehicles marked properly on the property, these are the things that we went over at that annual meeting. So I just wanted to put that out there to him while he was on the meeting with us.
Okay.
So make sure you understand that. Otherwise, we'll be back here in short order. Anybody else have any questions or concerns?
Mr. Chairman, with regard to amending the Class 2 auto dealer license, which is being continued from November 14th and December 12th, Cape Quality Collision Inc., DBA Cape Quality Car Sales, to amend the corporate name from Cape Quality Collision Inc. to Cape Quality Car Sales Inc. I make a motion to accept.
And I will second.
Roll call vote.
Yeah.
My apologies. David Nunheimer,
Yes.
Larry Decker,
Yes.
and John Flores.
Yes.
Great, the motion passes.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Have a good New Year.
So with respect to the consent agenda, I see we have several matters, but I'll take a motion with respect to the consent agenda, noting Tavern on the Green.
Mr. Chairman, with regard to the consent agenda, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda, which includes the Hyannis Sport Club with a notice of temporary closure, and the local juice at 539 South Street, Hyannis, with a notice with the intent to move to seasonal license, and with the Tavern on the Green included, subject to the renewal with the town of Barnstable. I make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Second.
Roll call vote. David Nunheimer,
Yes.
Larry Decker,
Yes.
and John Flores.
Yes.
Great, the motion passes.
Okay. All right, Aaron, so we got, I think that's all the business for today. And you're going to tell us about 2023 annual renewals.
So, okay. I
You can
just,
skip that if you like.
I'm sorry?
You can skip that if you'd like.
Oh, I actually planned on using this time just to acknowledge how this renewal season came together, starting with Lori Pearson of the IT department, working with Liz Hartsgrove and myself to get all of these alcohol and entertainment licenses onto our new permitting system. And it kind of spills down to Commissioner Florence and his team of inspectors who have been working very hard at arranging their schedules to make sure all of our alcohol license holders have current certificates of inspection, down to working with Brenda Coyle of the building department and Diana Beller of the health department, just making sure that our businesses are set up for success. Of course, Officer Kelsey has lent his time, his expertise, which I'm super thankful for. And I think it's just important for the public to know that there are conversations going on behind the scenes between departments, and we are collaborating to really make sure that we have the best 2023 that they can possibly have. So just a last minute shout out to Channel 18 and their staff, because they really are kind of our silent partners who make sure that these meetings are kind of go off without a hitch. And, I wouldn't Remiss if I didn't mention yourselves, the members of the authority who donate their time and expertise so we can have these meetings and yeah, just wishing everybody a healthy, happy 2023. It's been a very interesting renewal season, and I think seasonals are going to go off without a hitch because these annuals have kind of it's in a great place to move forward. So that's really all I have to offer from licensing at this point. And thank you very much. I don't know if Officer Kelsey has some comments.
I planned on making this statement at the end of the meeting, but just to reiterate what I had just moved forward with Cape Quality. After the first of the year, as noted in our November annual meeting with the Class 1 and Class 2 license holders, we are going to be going out there and doing random checks. I put it out there because I don't want there to be a surprise to anybody. I know that over the years, we've had the time to periodically be in and out of those license holders' businesses, and we're going to make an effort to be there a little bit more. This is not to try to hurt any of the businesses, but there are some things that I believe that these license holders could be doing to make themselves actually look better, as well as the town of Barnstable. So we're going to be working to that end. So I just want to make sure that it's out there again, so that they know that. And as always, we're going to be in and out of the alcohol license holders establishments. We've been doing that on a regular basis. We created, I believe, a strong relationship with most of the license holders, and we plan on continuing that. But again, it's good every once in a while to throw the reminder that, yeah, we're going to be out there. You guys are doing a great job. Keep it up. But just because it's wintertime doesn't mean that we're going to stop.
No, I want to commend you both and all the people that work with you. I think the evolution since I've been on this board of the way the town has dealt with businesses and the business operations and the attempt to keep businesses in operation and healthy and thriving has evolved greatly. And I know it certainly seems to have turned, at least from my perspective, the town into a better looking and a better profitable or easier to deal with place. So I commend you both for that, and Mr. Anthony and the rest of the crew, because it's important work, and I know people don't like it, but as you alluded to, Officer Kelsey, it makes the town and the businesses look better. So I appreciate the patience that everybody has with that. So
yeah, I would second what David has just stated. It's a good group, a very professional group, and really it's enjoyable to be on this board and work with personnel as astute and as efficient as can be.
Yeah, we're the most fun.
And Happy New Year.
Mr. Chairman.
Speaking of New Year, Aaron, will you be sending out a calendar of the dates for the 23 meetings like you usually do?
I will. So there was a link on that sheet that I had sent out. I'm happy just to send it so it's in a separate email if you'd like. I have no problem doing that.
I must have missed it. Thank
That's
you.
okay. Yeah.
On the Town of Barnstable website, if you go to licensing, there is the calendar for 2023.
Okay.
And Mr. Chairman, I'd like to bring to your attention that I believe we need to approve the minutes of December 12th.
I think we're holding those to the next meeting. That was at the beginning of the meeting. We're going to hold those till January 9th.
Okay.
That's correct.
And January 9th will be in-person meeting. Is that correct?
That is correct. Thank you, Larry, for bringing that up. Yep. Correct. We will be back at the hearing room.
So all future meetings will be in person.
That's correct. And, you know, with the caveat, John, being if for some reason we are asked to go back remote,
sure.
But otherwise our plan is to stay in person.
You'll have to take your pajamas off, John.
You can only see me from the waist up.
The beauty of Zoom, right? And just don't stand up, John. Just don't.
Exactly.
All right, with that all hunky-dory, I'll take a motion wishing everybody a happy new year and hope everybody had great holidays. So,
motion to adjourn to January 9th.
And I will second that motion.
And a roll call vote, David Dunheimer,
Yes.
Larry Decker,
Yes.
and John Flores.
Yes.
Motion
Great,
to
thank you all.
adjourn approved. Awesome. Happy New Year, everyone.